Man, today is a great day. And the reason it's a great day is because for so long as a race of people, we've been trying to find our way through this demise. This situation of why, we're in this predicament that we're in. We've had some great people come before us. We've had Dr. King, we've had Brother Malcolm, we've had Mandela in South Africa. We just had a lot of great folks, W.B. Du Bois, men of color and great valor. But one of the things I think missing, cuz, is the fact that we need to have some hands-on experience as to what's been wrong with us and how to fix what's wrong with us. See, everybody know what the problem is, but can we draw to the solution of the problem? Every problem, even in mathematics, got a solution. And I like to start by saying it's a pleasure having the chance to be here with my crew, my troop, brothers with an experience that they want to share concerning how we got here and how we going to get out. Let me start by introducing myself. My name is Aman Jabari. I'm sitting here with my first cousin, Brother John Spottsville, a soldier, a warrior with one hell of a testimony. This is called The Gospel and the Game, Setting the Captives Free. Let me start with allowing my brother to say, what it's like to finally get a chance to begin to have someone to tap into and someone to ask questions about, what it is he's been through. I'll tell you a little bit about my brother. For the last 24 years of his life, starting at the age of 16, I think it was, right?
Yes. Yes.
The brother was incarcerated in America's system of demise, and he's going to tell his story from on the inside. And we're going to have a chance to hear every step of the way. But what you're getting today is nothing but an introduction. It's my pleasure to finally get a chance to be on camera with you, big brother. And then I'm going to be able to tell my story of how I saw the game at the age of 5, going to Louisiana State Penitentiary before the road got paved, to see my father in 1963. What I think our audience is going to get, and you're going to be able to respond and leave your comments, you're going to hear something raw, uncut, and something true that you can deal with. And hopefully, if any young brother, or anybody for that matter, will get a chance to get something from this conversation, we hope that you'll be able to, and that you'll be able to use it so that you don't have to go through what we've been through.
Yes, sir.
Is that something we could touch and agree on?
Yes, sir.
So tell me something, John, about why is it important for you to be able to have an opportunity to express what you've been through, hopefully somebody won't have to go through what you've been through. Why is that important to you?
Because throughout my journey, I ain't overcame a lot. And, when you overcome something, there ain't no better feeling than overcoming something. So, saying that, due to the youth and a lot of us as our kind, African Americans, being lost, what I overcome, I know what you going through or what the next going through, wouldn't matter age, size, race, you can overcome it. Because I'm a living witness of it. So that's my whole concept of overcoming your situation, your environment, or whatever you've been through, you can overcome it. And I experienced that, I was a witness of it, so I know if I can do it, you can do it.
That's a hell of an intro, man. Because you know what I learned about life, big brother, is the fact that it's not how you start this game, it's how you finish it. And we've come from a deplorable start, meaning that our ancestry started from oppression. And if you go back to the scripture, because a lot of things we're going to talk about is going to be spiritually based. We ain't talking about no religion. We're not talking about making you feel good.
Yes, sir.
That when you tune into the gospel in the game, setting the captives free, you should be able to get something that's spiritually sound that'll give you an opportunity to go research it for yourself.
Yes, sir.
Because we telling our testimony. And one word you keep using, overcome. And you know what overcome means? For those who don't know, it means to conquer.
Conquer.
Jesus said it first. I have overcome the world. I have overcome the world. I have conquered the world. He talked about how his Father sent him into the earth to set the captives free and to mend the brokenhearted. You can't set nobody free unless you become free yourself.
Right.
So when you start dealing with this powerful documentary or dealing with this YouTube page, man, you're gonna enjoy it. Cause this ain't no hocus pocus. This ain't to make you feel good. And if you get something from it, we hope you can take it and use it. Because let me tell you something about where I come from. And what my perspective is I come again from a mother who I was blessed to have that took me a certain way. And when I was a little bitty boy at only 5 years old, I remember getting up early in the morning, taking a 5-hour bus ride at that time, because in Louisiana, I-10 hadn't been established yet. So we used to take that ride from New Orleans on Jackson Avenue in Claiborne on a school bus to the front gate of Louisiana State Penitentiary. I was 5 years old. That was 1963. And what that did for me, John, it allowed me to understand what my future might be like had I not taken what I saw when I crossed the front gates in St. Francisville, Louisiana, in the Tunica Hills, to understand what Angola was about.
Yes,
man, I took that information, big brother, and everything we discussed on this intro to our YouTube page is going to be about how I can see and experience from the outside what a man don't have to deal with on the inside. And what I hear you saying is, and your youth as a young man of 16 got a Jose charged with armed robbery, and you're going to tell us about everything that someone would want to know and hear about in terms of the journey. But man, I'm telling you, it's nothing like starting something. And let's just tell a story how it go. You know, I only met you as my cousin a short time ago. You know, and what I got from that was you got a story. But before I go any further, let me tell you about the cameraman. We got somebody shooting this. Let me tell you about this young brother. Let me tell you about this young brother, by the way. And see, one thing we can't do is we don't know how to collaborate for the same cause. But you're going to see a collaboration here between 3 different situations. It's my brother, Eric Harper. Huh?
What's going on? How y'all doing?
We're doing great, big brother. We're doing great, man.
Good.
And we're glad that you're able to be here today to do your part as the guy doing the video today. But a little bit about brother Eric will give you his testimony. But one thing I admire about my little brother, is that he realized something was wrong with him. He's one hell of an entrepreneur. In fact, before we close, you'll get a chance to hear about his business. If you want to purchase something from it, you can purchase something from that brother's business, and my business, and this brother's business. But I want to at least introduce the cast. Because you know, we got to start somewhere. I guess you're wondering where we're at. We're really in the Garden of Eden. We're going back to the Garden of Eden here.
Sir.
We found an ideal spot, to do this presentation. You know, we're sitting on the porch just a few minutes ago, and something saying, brother, don't talk about it. You got a couple chairs, man. You know, you got a camera. You got a cameraman. You got 2 people who've been through something. Let's get together and start telling it, man.
Yes, sir.
So remember, it's called The Gospel and the Game, setting the captives free. The chosen ones, chosen to tell it unraw, to tell it uncut, uncensored. This is not about making you smile. It's about telling you something from our experience, our individual experiences, that you might be able to get something from, you know. But I tell you what we're gonna do. It don't make no sense, you know. The train is on the track and it's rolling, you know. But I'm gonna start off with a few questions for my brother, and I want you to share with our listening audience, man. You know, tell us something about your youth and being 17, 16 years old and being sentenced for a crime that perhaps shouldn't have happened had you had the knowledge, but it did happen.
Yes, sir.
But let's get this ball rolling and tell me something about those early years of getting charged and headed to this penitentiary so we can kind of get an understanding of what we can expect as we move down the line in this presentation.
Well. First off, I'm gonna say this. It was at one time in my life that I wasn't taking responsibility for my actions, the things I did, the wrong choices I made. So that kept me in denial. And keeping in denial is like just keeping you down. So when I had to come to reality and had to look in that mirror and look at myself, everything came to me like I was the problem. The problem had to be solved, but the only way it could be solved is through me. But when I was 16 years old, just like the average 16 years old, I made bad choices, but this one just happened to get out of hand, and I wound up in a situation with a 16-year-old being charged as an adult, and don't know too much about the system, how the law go. I'm trying to get my freedom back. So the best way to get your freedom back in a jurisdiction system is go to trial and just cross your fingers and just wait for luck to come to you. So, I went to trial, me and my brothers, my fall partner, and, it wasn't a good choice because I realized that later on down the line, it wasn't a good choice because I got 25 smacked across my face at 16 years old. And my brother, he got 30 because 5 years older than me, and they feel like he was the orchestrator. I was following him, so they gave him an extra 5. I'm just showing you how the system is. They gave him an extra 5, smacked him with an extra 5. So, but he already had a choice. He got multiple bail, so it wound up being 49 for him and 25 for me. So, me in New Orleans, bro, going to New Orleans OPP. My mindset was already set, just like I was living on the street. A mentality of I don't care. I don't give a. As I went through my jokes through the Paris, I was surrounded by some good brothers. And the youngest one in there on the tip. But these dudes, 60, 50 some years old, but I'm listening at them comments say how they ain't been down 25, 30 years and they trying to get out. And I'm like, sitting in a day room, I'm 16 years old, I just got a fresh 25. How I'm gonna do this 25? It's through them. See, if I would have never met the people that I met in my life throughout my journey of being incarcerated, I probably wouldn't be here today. But to see them make it through their trials and tribulation, I know I had to face it. And by me facing it, I know I had to make it. By me facing the situation. So, I started off just like I was on the street that I ain't care about nothing. I wasn't gonna do nothing. I wasn't gonna be a part of nothing. And I just hope, one day I get another chance if that's possible. So I went up there when I got left to Paris. I went to DOC, Hunts Correctional Center, HRDC, and my mentality was, I'm young. Well, let me say this: before you go to jail, you hear a lot about jail, but you'll never know it till you go in there. So that's the mentality you take in there. Well, I ain't gonna be this, I ain't gonna be that, I ain't gonna be this, I ain't gonna suck no ass, I ain't gonna work for the people, none of that. That's the attitude I went up there with. Now that attitude right there, just like the attitude we pursue when we on the street, that attitude right there caused me a lot of problems for years on years on years. Because when you got an attitude like that saying you standing for something, you firm with your beliefs, you's a trouble, you a problem. And they mindset them there, the ones that run it, the administration, we gonna get you in compliance one way or another.
Brother John, let me just ask something before you move on further. So let me get a better understanding. At 16, tried as an adult, got 25 flat. Was there ever a possibility that because you were at such a young age that you perhaps should have been in a juvenile system? Why wasn't that an option for you? And why were you tried as an adult? Was that the state saying because of the crime you committed, it was worthy of you being tried as an adult because you were acting like an adult? Is that fair to say? How did that work, being tried as an adult?
Now, in the city back then, in the early 90s, armed robbery, carjacking, it was a normal thing going on around here. So there was a lot of examples being made. And the difference between juvenile and adult. See, juvenile, the most time you get is juvenile life. In juvenile life, 21 years old, they gotta let you go. It ain't satisfying to the jurisdiction system of the government 5 years. From a 16-year-old, I'll be 5 years, I'll be 21. I'll be eligible to return to society. It wasn't a good a punishment for them. So that's the reason why they allowed the jurisdiction system to try juveniles as adults. Because if like the time they give you in juvenile, the most time they give you in juvenile life, that it ain't good enough for the crime they say. But the law, if you look in the book, on robbery, carry 5 to 99. It wouldn't matter if you're a juvenile, you're adult. But they know when you move to the adult system, it's two things. It's some more time, and you out here like you adult, so we about to put you around adults. It's another mental thing, a mental thing that a lot of kids, you go into adult system that in your mind, it's a whole different story in adult and juvenile, because you around people that been down 40, 50 years. I'm talking about you around killers, jackers, drug dealers. I'm talking about just violent everywhere. I'm talking about it's really it's love to an extent, but it's really, you gotta earn that love, you gotta earn that respect in there. So they send you in there to the adult, mentally to break you, mentally to have you involved with some people that is ready out your league, because they like to say it's levels to this. And just like juvenile is a level, adult, it's a level 2, it's a way upper level. So the consequences and repercussions between being locked up in juvenile adult is way more greater in the adult system than in the juvenile system. Because just look at it, ask yourself how many stories you heard, how many people you know that got killed in juvenile jail, and how many people you know that get killed in adult jail system. Way more in adult than juvenile. So it's a different level to this. But I feel like we could put you in this different level where you say when you was on the street, we could put you in here. We gonna see how you gonna react. But see, this the thing that I learned about that. It could weigh 2 ways. It could backfire. That's they thinking of the jurisdiction system. But guess what? See, a man, you firm to your belief, you're 16 years old, 17, 18, however old you is. If you was a man, you can make it anywhere. And I'm talking about all around the world, just ain't including Louisiana, but Louisiana, speaking of New Orleans, is got more people incarcerated than any other state in the country, Louisiana. So, but if you can make it, if you say you's a man, guess what? It really gonna tell if you's a man. If you say you ain't working, you say you ain't gonna be no slave for the system, it gonna be shown. That's the difference between the adult system and the juvenile systems. It's levels. Juvenile low, adult up.
So I'm getting the impression that, because what I'm interested in understanding is, you're already in the world. You're making decisions like a man.
Man.
Now the judicial system is simply going to make an example, but it sounds like there ain't no compassion for you.
No.
Or people like you.
No.
So to take you at 16 years of age and lock you in a penal system with grown men, even though you consider yourself a man psychologically, maybe not physically in terms of your statue, but mentally, you rather die like a man.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
So, but let me ask this question here. for young men who out there who think they understand what it's like to commit violent crimes or any crime, but don't consider the circumstances? What would you be able to tell a young man about your beginning phase of going to a correctional institution where you got to fight off the bus? I mean, what can somebody get from that? What can a young man understand about those circumstances?
Well, my circumstance, it could apply. It could apply to anybody, because guess what? We all make bad choices. But one thing about the jurisdiction system, that's why I speak about the jurisdiction system, because the jurisdiction system is everything of course, incarceration, of being locked up. And the only thing is to get you locked up and keep you locked up. So my journey, I want the youth, the ones that come behind me, after me, not to go through. And being sincere, I went through hell my first year at Hunts. But I ain't go through hell because of the correctional officers. I went through hell because of me. When we go through hell, you're a problem. You don't want to go along with the program. You ain't gonna be no slave. And when you become a problem, so you become a problem, their problem is to get you in compliance, any means necessary. So by me ain't want to get in compliance, that led to me being on lockdown, fighting the tag team, throwing shit, shooting dogs, burning the cell block on fire, masturbating off women, just showing that my mentality is not giving up about nothing. That's how I was feeling. But a couple times, this is icing on the cake for the ones who want to experience that. It might sound good, a macho man, but it really ain't. You know what it is? It's really putting yourself in a position of losing your life. You never could catch your freedom back. I ain't see it because I was ignorant. I was ignorant. Mind. I was ignorant. So I ain't see it like that because I had to wake up way down the line. But that's the reason why I'm saying what I'm saying, for the youth to not live there and wind up in a position I wind up in of losing your life, not retaining your freedom. Because doing what I did, it come with consequences and repercussions. And one of them, the repercussion is, that's one of them, the consequence of one of them, losing your life. The other one, they street charge you. They street charge, they just like going back to trial again. The jurisdiction system. Anybody know about being locked up or street charge, it ain't you ain't beating it. Because they already see you locked up. And whatever the people say you did, whether you did it or not, that's what you did. So the best thing you can do when it comes with the street charges is to go in there and carve out. And I know so many dudes, I just was blessed not to wind up in that position. I know so many dudes that started off with 5 years, and through their bad choices of how they want to live in correction, they wind up with a life sentence. 5 years to a life sentence. They might not never see their freedom. So that's the difference of the choices you make in the lifestyle you live behind them walls. That's the consequences and the repercussions that they ain't telling you. Losing your life, or getting a life sentence, or getting, held bad. I'm talking about the whole nine, bro. That's the two most ones. So it's the youth, the ones that's out here that ain't trying to go in there. Man, if you ain't trying to go in there, if you can't feel that right there, losing your life, serving a life sentence with never seeing the side there, or having your people come up there and see you whenever they say it's available for them to come. If you can't grasp that and put it inside your heart to keep you from where I've been at and what I've been through, guess what? You're gonna have problems throughout I'm talking about your whole entire life. Because you gotta feel it when you're talking about taking your life or giving you life.
Man, that's a, man, as I hear you talk, as we move forward, we about to wrap this segment up right here. We like to call this maybe phase 1 or part 1 or part 2. Well, part 1. But before we close, man, I want to say why, as you talk, I'm thinking about the choices I made as a relative whose father was in the penitentiary and I was visiting at 5, you know. And what I experienced, what I never had to go through that, because I got a chance to see that devil called DOC, Department of Corrections. I got a chance to see it for myself. But I know that in that last statement you made, it was heartfelt. And young people, if you get a chance, man, to log on to YouTube and see this piece, The Gospel in the Game, Set the Captives Free, the chosen ones, chosen to tell you their story so that hopefully you will get something from it. Man, there's so much we could continue to talk about, but we got so much to talk about. We're going to discontinue this phase of our introduction to setting the captives free. And I just want to close by always saying that the knowledge that you get from Brother Jabari, it comes from the teachings of this Hebrew Son of God, whose name is Yahshua in Hebrew, but Jesus the Christ.
Yes, sir.
And this is a part of another phase, which is coming online. Kingdom Restoration Ministry. Restoration means to restore something, to restore it back to its original use.
Yes.
That's what I'm hearing from my brother.
Yes.
Being restored, having the capacity to come and tell somebody that he experienced something you don't want to experience. This thing gonna get good. And we're gonna get likes from all over.
Yes, sir.
But this ain't about no likes. This is about tapping into someone else's soul and let you know that somebody had to go through it. Somebody had to overcome it to tell you the story. Because that's what happened for me. My father spent 2 terms in Louisiana State Penitentiary at Angola. And I ain't spent none. You know why? Because he already did time for me. It's time for me to wake up somebody who don't
Yes,
know.
sir.
And I appreciate this first part, you know, and we're going to have an awesome fellowship here as brothers. And until the next time we meet, Brother John, it's been a pleasure. Until we see
Always.
you again.
Always.
Shalom.
Always.